discuss with my team earlier today. Anyway, thank you everyone for being here. So this public hearing on the Committee on Energy is called to order. This is joint with the Committee on Public Service, Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Professional Regulation. Welcome everyone. Today we continue our hearings on the review of the EPIRA, the Electric Power Industry Reform Act, a landmark law passed more than 2 decades ago and one that continues to shape the country's energy landscape. During our first hearing, we focus on strengthening the ERC, and today we look into the other key provisions of EPIRA that affect competition, ownership, and governance within the energy sector. So on our agenda is our Senate Bills number 346, Senate Bills number 367, 1164, 1088, 1091. For the record, EPIRA was designed to liberalize, modernize the power industry with the goal of delivering affordable, reliable, and sustainable electricity to all Filipinos. But 2 decades has lapsed, and we continue to be confronted with persistent issues, high power costs, regulatory inefficiencies, and limited competition in key segments of the industry. These problems are consistently brought to our attention, and they call for a careful review of whether EPIRA's original safeguards and requirements, such as the public offering, mandated, and cross-ownership restrictions, are still effective and relevant in today's market conditions. As policymakers, we must ensure that our laws not only encourage investment and innovation, but also protect consumers and promote fair competition. So the task before us is to really balance these objectives to create an energy market that is both efficient and equitable. I would just like to add that I'm the chairperson of the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation, and Futures Thinking. And in our review of EPIRA, it directly supports, of course, SDG number 7, affordable and clean energy. But I always emphasize paulit-ulit na it advances the following SDGs: no poverty, good health and well-being, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, infrastructure, and sustainable cities and communities. So when we provide sustainable, affordable, reliable energy, lahat itong mga SDG natin na cover. This hearing is not just about amending the law. It is about confronting the perennial issues that have long plagued the Philippine energy sector and ensuring that our reforms keep pace with evolving needs of our economy and people. So, let us proceed. Most of you only submitted a position paper today. We didn't have that much we just had a minimum days of notice, so that is not an issue for me. It's just that my request will be, because I didn't have a chance to read it, if you just submitted it today, you walk me through your position paper, but don't read your position paper to me, kasi that is meant for me to read outside of the session, okay? That's my request, ha, kasi pag binasa niyo yung position paper niyo sa akin, I will cut you off, and I don't want to have to do that. Just highlight the points, okay? And if you have not submitted the position paper and you intend to, that's also fine. Highlight the points that you want to raise, okay? So I want to have a nice dynamic discussion. If anyone has any strong or even interesting objections or relevant comments on the statement of any resource person, because I am the only senator here, just raise your hands and I will call on you, because I'd like to have a very dynamic discussion. Normally, if there are more senators, then medyo mas mahirap gawin yon. So if Senator Sherwin, who used to chair the Committee on Energy, arrives, I'll still continue with this because I do want to hear your thoughts on this, no? So, kunyari, ang position ng DOE ganito, pero very strongly, whoever, NEA or NGCP or PISAM, kami, hindi ho yan ang paniniwala namin. Just raise your hand because that's what will help me understand the issues better. Because if you don't, and some of you may choose not to, later on, when you give a contrary statement, then I will have to say, so, iba ba yung sinasabi mo doon? You know, let's not beat around the bush. Of course, let's speak with respect and courtesy, but we're allowed to disagree with each other. Okay? So those are my basic rules. You have your water. You're allowed to stand up. Sitting is the new smoking, so tumayo kayo, magbanat-banat kayo ng konting buto. You're also free to go to the restroom. I have an order of calling you, so if hindi naman kayo ang kasunod, feel free, you don't have to ask my permission. If food is served, which I think they will serve because it's lunch, you can eat. Feel free to eat. So I'll be calling on DOE, followed by ERC, then followed by NEA and NGCP. Then after that, Transco, NPC, PISAM, PEMC, IEM, do you say EMOP? How do you say that? IEMOP? IMOP. Okay. PCC. Okay. As to whether we will finish all of this, we will try. So maybe my request would be, keep your statement short. We have something budgetary related that came up. So I was late, and then I also have to manage my time because I need to work on this, this afternoon. So let's keep it short so I can try to get a feel of what everybody would like to say. And this is clearly not the only hearing we'll have, so don't worry, you will have a lot of time to expound on your positions later on. Okay, so let's get started. My understanding is it is ASIC Myra Roa who will present for DOE, and then be ready ERC. Go ahead. And then if you have a position paper submitted, just say it, because I want to make sure that my team pulls it up. As I said, most of you have submitted position papers only today. Let me recognize my colleagues, Senator Marcoleta and Senator Gatchalian. Do any of you want to make a statement? This is on EPIRA, or do we just proceed as I have called? Yeah, you're okay to proceed. Okay, so ASEC, so we have a list of resource persons. We'll ask. I've already told them to make known if you submitted a position paper, so that we can be sure that our colleagues have been given a copy also, so they can follow. Ulitin ko ha, for the sake of my colleagues, huwag nyo kaming basahan ng position paper. That is our assignment, to read it outside of the hearing. Just highlight the points you want to raise. Thank you. You may proceed, ASEC Roa.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair and members of this committee, and to my colleagues in government service. In the interest of time, I will just go directly to the identified gaps in the EPIRA. Section, slide 13, please. So, slide 13. So, Madam Chair, one of the goals in the passage of the EPIRA is to provide quality, reliable, secure, and affordable electric power services. And the strategies is to 100% electrification, encourage investment in generation sector, establishment of the WESM, the unbundling of the tariffs, the structural unbundling of the electricity industry, the implementation of the universal charge and the lifeline rate, the turnover of sub-transmission assets to the qualified DUs, the opening of the qualified third party on areas that DUs cannot serve or the underserved, and consumer education. However, after 2 decades, we still identify the following gaps. As to the 100% electrification level, there is a challenge as to the absorptive capacity of the DUs to implement the various electrification projects, as well as the funding allocation from the national government. On the issue of the sub-transmission turnover to qualified DUs, there is the challenge of the non-viability for operation of the electric cooperatives. On the issue of the qualified third parties, this is supplemented with the passage of the Microgrid Systems Act, the viability of the identified areas and the lack of information in energy demand profiles, as well as the high initial investment cost, including logistics in putting up the microgrid system, as well as the community acceptance on the proposed electrification solutions. While on the lifeline rate subsidies implementation, this is being renewed, or there's still low registration of target beneficiaries, but since this is one of the SONA directives of the President, we are looking on it on how to streamline the process as well as to conduct an aggressive dissemination to all the qualified beneficiaries for this lifeline rate. And for the universal charge, there's an increasing requirement of the universal charge as well as the delays in the implementation of the UC graduation policy. The DOE, as part of the initiative to address this directive, proposed amendments to the EPIRA, and one is for the ERC strengthening to address the growing stakeholders in the industry sector, as well as the sectoral amendments, which follows the generation and transmission, as well distribution, as well as the supply. On the generation sector, we intend to propose the classification of the energy storage as to be recognized as and facilitate smooth introduction and transparency into the power grid, as well as the requirement of more reports or financial statements of the generation companies and other stakeholders to determine their capability in to operate and participate in the sector, as well as to encourage market operator and the system operator that need essential data for optimal dispatch and to capture the accurate scenario of the electricity market, and among others, Mr. Chair and Madam Chair. And for the transmission, also to address the delay in the completion of the transmission projects and the issue on the road right-of-way, as well as in the expropriation cases, in addition to the inconsistent and lag in the processing permits, and also the disposal of and transfer of the sub-transmission assets operated and maintained by Transco. On the distribution sector, Madam Chair, among others, is to encourage investment and endeavor to modernize their systems for better and reliable power in the areas, and the solution is a full amendment focused on delineating the components of the UC. For the ERC strengthening, Madam Chair, the ERC and the DOE are jointly reviewed the provisions, and since in the lower house we already agreed for such proposal. So in the last submission that we did this morning, Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, so we agree, we support the proposal. We just subject to styling and some revised or proposed wordings of the provisions, Madam Chair.
Okay, just a very quick question, no? On that last penultimate page where you have the sectoral amendments in the pipeline, and then you have it's a pretty long list for me. Are you saying that you are currently working on your end on amendments to the law that will address this, or you are addressing the concerns? What does that mean? Sectoral amendments in the pipeline?
To facilitate the review or the amendment of the EPIRA for sectoral classification, generation, transmission, distribution. Yes. So we prepared our initial proposal, but we did not submit it officially since we are.
So you're drafting your amendments.
Yes,
per sector.
In the event that we will that the directive would be to have it as a whole to address the amendments as a whole, or on per sectoral basis.
So you're considering chopping it up?
We will submit to the discretion of the lead agency, Madam Chair, if that is the directive.
So in view of my initial statement that let's consider all of this an overview kasi ang dami mong sinabi dito, all of which I would like you to elaborate